Okay. Good afternoon, and thank you for joining today's webinar, Color Coding Your Facility Sanitation Made Easy, brought to you by CFS Brands. My name is Katie Thompson, and I'm the show manager for the ISSA Show North America. Before we start today's webinar, I wanted to remind everyone that this is being recorded and you will be able to access the video on the ISSA Show website under the Webinars tab within the On-Demand section. Also, be sure to check out ISSAshow.com for more information on upcoming webinars each month. Without further ado, I would like to introduce Jade Barker. Jade is a corporate sales trainer and program manager for CFS Brands, where she oversees the training department. With her team, she is developing comprehensive first-in-class training for both the CFS Brands brand product portfolio and internal processes. With over 20 years of sales and marketing experience, she believes sales excellence begins with purposeful, engaging, and relevant training. Please help me welcome Jade Barker.
Hey everyone, thank you so much for joining us today. We're really excited. We're going to jump right in. I did want to let you know I do have my super old grumpy dog in the room with me. So if you hear some weird groans or barks, it's just her upset that she's not getting all the attention. So let's go ahead and get started.
These aren't just people who wake up wanting the status quo. They strive for quality and innovation. They demand a partner to help them achieve their goals and elevate industry standards. And these are not just products. They are thousands of innovative solutions, guided by the past and designed using today's technology. We are a single source supplier providing comprehensive solutions to the food service, healthcare, and hygiene industries. We are dedicated to designing valuable products and support that empowers business and helps you deliver success. As we reflect on our journey, industry first, and awards, we move forward united as a global family of brands, sharing our common values, integrity, teamwork, customer focus, and our passion for design that's at the heart of everything we do. We are CFS Brands. Designing value, delivering success.
Okay, so we are going to go ahead and get started. Thank you guys so much for joining us today while we talk about color coding your facility. So let's jump right in. Let's start with the why. Why are we discussing color coding a facility for sanitation? We really believe that an effective color-coded sanitation system in a facility will minimize risk and increase hygiene and safety. So before we can discuss color-coded sanitation, we have to start at the beginning with a good manufacturing practice. A good manufacturing practice covers all aspects of production, including sanitation. And good manufacturing practice regulations, which are regulated by the FDA, are designed to be the minimum standard for the food industry. And because these regulations are general in nature, each facility should develop and execute their own system to limit contamination and to meet the unique needs of the facility. So part of a good manufacturing practice is identifying the critical control points in a facility. So a critical control point is a point in the process where you want to control a critical limit. For food processing, that can mean a percentage of contaminant or a level of rejected product. For this presentation, we're focusing more on sanitation and floor care. So a critical control point in this presentation is going to be more about limiting touch points. So for example, guests will go in and out of a restroom. So there'll be some level of contamination between the bathroom and the front of house. However, by color coding the bathroom cleaning tools as separate from the front of house, we're limiting those touch points of contamination and reducing the level of contamination. So this slide is really a simplified version of the FDA's current good manufacturing practice guidelines for a food safety plan. Let's start with a hazard. So a hazard is a biological, chemical, or physical agent that is reasonably likely to cause illness or injury in the absence of its control. So step one is to conduct a hazard analysis. So this first step in applying a color-coded sanitation is going to be identifying in the facility where there's possible areas for cross-contamination or allergen contamination. These areas would be best suited for color coding. And then the critical control points will be identified through that hazard analysis. So these are the areas that you would establish a color coding process as a preventative measure. And here's a tip. When identifying a critical control point, it's also imperative to identify whether color coding would be an adequate preventative option, right? So for example, if raw chicken is being processed on a separate line from cooked chicken in the same room, it would be relatively easy to apply color coding to the separate lines to prevent cross-contamination. However, if the raw and the cooked product are touching because there's not enough workspace, then no amount of color coding is going to prevent that risk of cross-contamination. So step 2B is really where we recommend implementing that color coding system as a preventative control. And again, the FDA allows facilities to liberally establish their own preventative controls. And so today, we really want to show you how using color coding can aid in the verification and implementation of those preventative controls. So the next step to establish is establishing those monitoring procedures. So again, for our presentation today, we're discussing color coding for facility sanitation. So a great example of a monitoring procedure would be visually verifying that the correct color of cleaning tools are being used in their designated areas, right? So this would be an ongoing process established by the leaders and then executed by managers and workers. If you reach a critical limit, then you need a corrective action. So in our example, if an incorrect color tool is being used in an area, what would be a corrective action? Corrective action might be disposing of those tools or re-sanitizing those tools and then retraining. So again, corrective actions can vary in each facility, but they should always include training and retraining if there's some type of crossing of that contaminant limit. So, and then a note about training, for color coding procedures to really be effective, employees have to be bought in on the process, right? So training on procedures is not really enough. Explaining the risk of cross-contamination, especially to the most vulnerable in our population, and then conducting retraining annually at a minimum, that really helps them understand why you put these preventative measures in place, and it gets you buy-in. And then training should always be developed with the youngest hourly employee in mind, right? So the 16 to 18-year-old hourly employee, they're not coming to the table with sanitation in the forefront of their mind. So training needs to make sense for that employee, and then it can scale up from there. And then finally, we come to verification procedures. So this is written documentation of the sanitation procedures and validation that they're working. So in food processing facilities, that may include testing of the product for critical limits, while in a restaurant or a grocery store, it will look more like staff understanding the procedures and limiting touch points. So this documentation can also help when a facility is audited, and you always want to support that procedure with clear signage as well. So here we have a sample of color-coded sanitation flow chart for a food processing plant. So first they identified the critical control points in their facility, and then they applied colors to different sections within the facility. Each color represents that critical control point in the manufacturing process, and then they applied those colors for the tools to reduce cross-contamination from one point to the next. This is another example of color zoning for sanitation. So this facility chose to create zones based on contact with raw product. So the point of these examples is that there's no single way to identify those critical control points. It's just what works best for each facility. So whenever we are looking at solutions at CFS Brands, we always want to answer this question for our customers and our end users. How will this reduce labor? How will this reduce cost? And how will this reduce risk? So let's look at labor first. Colors are a universal language and they're easy to communicate. Colors cross language barriers and they make the process easy to understand. Color coding at a critical control point also helps staff to quickly understand those control points and to limit cross-contamination. Again, when thinking about this process, keep in mind that for most facilities, we're talking about that 16-year-old hourly worker, that worker that's probably not thinking sanitation or cross-contamination. And by adding color coding, it's clear and you uncomplicate a lot of that process for them. Color coding also can help procurement team easily know what items are missing, damaged, or need to be reordered. So that's, again, reducing that strain on your labor. Now let's look at reducing costs. So not every cleaning tool works best in every environment. By color coding your cleaning, your zones or your cleaning areas, you can make sure that the correct tools are being used in each area and thus ensuring that each tool reaches its maximum lifespan. Honestly, the next point here is probably the biggest point and also kind of a no-brainer, right? An outbreak of a foodborne illness in any facility, whether it's food processing, whether it is a distribution facility, a restaurant, healthcare facility, it can not only be deadly to the most vulnerable in our population, but it can also severely damage an organization's brand. And their reputation and the confidence of their patrons, right? So in today's social marketplace, sometimes the most valuable thing that a business can have is their reputation, and changes in perception of that, especially on a social level, can really kind of spell doom for a business. So not only can it be, also it's incredibly costly, right? So if they have to do some type of recall or try to regain confidence in their consumer, it's going to be a really costly process for them. So color coding is a relatively cheap and easy way to, again, quickly identify those critical control points and minimize risk. And then color coding makes it easy to spot those possible cross contaminations, right? So as well as possible misplacement of tools between departments or even contractors. This one is not so much about cross contamination, but we have a customer that it's a very large, well-known theme park, and they hire contractors to provide sanitation throughout their parks. Well, one contractor decided they were going to order all of their tools in pink because they didn't want anybody else stealing their tools when they were put in the storage closet, and it would be easy for them to recognize. So sometimes color coding, maybe it's not about cross-contamination, maybe it's about identifying tools within departments or contractors, or schools might do it in school colors to, again, add more branding. So there's a whole bunch of different reasons that this could actually help increase a brand for a company. And then finally, let's look at reducing risk, right? So the biggest benefit overall is going to be that visual cue that acts as that preventative control. Color coding, again, makes it obvious when the tools have been moved from one point in a critical control to another, right? Also, documented color coding procedures for sanitation help to validate an organization's commitment to safety. And this can be incredibly helpful when dealing with auditors or health inspectors. So in the next few slides, what we've done is we've taken a look at how different facilities could choose to color code their sanitation. So we're starting out with a fast food or casual dining, and this is probably one of the more simpler options. They did a 3 color code. So they did a front of house, a back of house, and the bathroom. And I know that a lot of restaurants and fast food or places, they have really limited storage. So this is going to be a concern for these customers, especially when you're presenting this concept. Like, where am I going to put all of these tools? And so here's a couple of suggestions. We've seen some fast food restaurants or casual dining, they actually build a small closet between the restrooms or next to the restrooms or in the corner of the restroom to hold the cleaning products specifically for that space. We are also, and we're going to talk about this product a little bit later in the presentation, we do have our new OmniFit divided mop bucket. This helps segregate dirty and clean water, so you're not mopping with dirty water or dirtier water that's getting progressively more dirty as you mop. It's putting dirty water in one bucket, clean water stays in another. So you could utilize something like that in your cleaning and then have maybe different mops for different areas. And while it might be difficult to designate this space for cleaning tools, the alternative could be an outbreak of a foodborne illness, and that could be catastrophic to the restaurant's chain and to their brand. So again, the loss of consumer confidence in today's market could be financially devastating. It might be worth a facility's giving a little bit extra space to those sanitation tools to prevent that type of outcome, right? So here we have the same layout, but they added an additional color. I don't know if you can guess where it might be. Let's take a look. Again, front of house, back of house, the restroom, and then they chose to do the fridge and freezer, right? So again, it's what works best for any facility. Now, this is an example of a casual dining, and they went all in on their color code. And there's one here that most people are going to kind of wonder about. So we're going to address that in a second. So they color coded the sink area, as well as the cooler and freezer, the kitchen, the restrooms. That's pretty obvious. Front of house. They also color coded the patio. Can anybody guess in the chat why they would color code a patio? If you guessed that it was the reason might be critters, flying animals, things like that come around a patio in the evening, you would be correct. So that type of biomatter on a patio, you would want to limit the amount of that being tracked back into the front of house. So yes, patrons, servers, they're going to go in and out from the front of house to the patio. So you're not going to completely eliminate that, but limiting that touch point would be the point of color coding the patio. Also, patios just don't get cleaned as often, right? So designating specific tools for that area is, again, going to limit that touch point. Now, let's look at an example. This is actually a grocery store or supermarket. So you'll see that the deli in an area that preps cooked food is separate from the produce and the packaged food. You'll also notice that a large part of the supermarket is dry goods. And that can all have basically the same sanitation tools. However, cases like fish and dairy would need to be segregated. And then we also gave the bakery its own color coded. So as we emerge from the pandemic, sanitation is becoming a bigger issue in the food industry as a whole. Most food manufacturers already implement some type of color code as a standard practice in their facilities, but we're also seeing this moving into large regional and nationwide grocery chains, and it will continue to become more prevalent as a preventative measure for all businesses that handle food. And then, like I said, a lot of food processing plants already implement this type, but I did want to give you an example of how it might work in a food processing facility. So in this example, each room in the facility is color coded to limit the risk of cross-contamination from room to room. So each room is a separate point in the process, different types of contaminants in each part of the facility. So they limited it by zones. So let's look at some tips for color coding. So number one, education and training of employees is critical. Having for any good system, but especially for a good color coding system, and having clear signage to help reinforce that process. A storage area for color coded tools. This is a really good practice is have it match your tools, right? So red hooks, red shadow boards for red tools are a great way to easily identify which tools belong in that area and if there's any tools missing. And then fewer colors, the better. So 3 to 5 color system for most facilities, it is going to work well versus 12 colors. However, if a facility is really complex and an employee would only encounter about 3 to 5 in their working environment, a more complex system might work, but it should be simplified whenever possible. So, thinking back to the food processing facility, it had more than 5 colors. but employees would probably only be working in one of those colors during their shift, right? And then a note about tools. Tools should all be one color. So red bristles, red handle versus red bristles, black handle, or red bristles, white handle, because that can also be confusing and can lead to some cross-contamination. When implementing a color code system, it should be rolled out all at once. So if cost is an issue, start with the most critical items. For example, start with counter scrubs or mops and then build from that. But it should be rolled out throughout the facility all at once. And once a color coding system has been applied, stick with those colors when repurchasing or replenishing tools. If there needs to be a change in the system, make sure that the employees are adequately informed, signage is changed, and training is done. And then start with the most obvious hazards, such as back of house and restrooms. You don't, again, have to complicate the process. And then there's a final note for anyone presenting this concept to a restaurant or a facility with a commercial kitchen. Kitchens are often familiar with and use that 5 standard HACCP colors to prevent cross-contamination in food prep. So when these facilities establish a color-coded sanitation, they would benefit from using some of our other 13 colors like pink, lime, brown, black, just to eliminate confusion. And then I often get asked this question, so I do want to address it. What about color blindness, right? 1 in 12 men suffer from some level of color blindness and about 1 in 200 women. So color coding can still be useful for these employees as well, but as a best practice, you want to avoid pairing like red and green together or colors that are similar in shade like blue and purple. Better options would be if they were, for example, if you're a restaurant in front of house, doing a yellow and a blue so that they're easily contrasted, or an orange and a purple would be a better option. So the following pages are recommended CFS brand products for sanitation for use in various areas of facilities. We're going to go through each section separately. So equipment cleaning can mean back of house kitchen equipment or large tanks that you might see like storage in. For those, we have tank and kettle brushes. We have various sizes of pipe and valve brushes from 2 inches in diameter to 8 inches in diameter. We have radiator brushes for those hard to reach places. We have hook brushes for like upper areas that can be added to a handle to reach things up in a ceiling. For example, in this slide, this picture, they could be used to clean the vent hoods. We also have flow through brushes with softer bristles. Those softer bristles are made of Nylex and are made so they will not scratch the stainless steel. So these are great for cleaning tanks because the brush is softer and will not leave any micro abrasions or scratches that can become bacteria traps. All right, these products in the floor and wall care category, a few call outs on this page are products that are part of our OmniFit floor care solutions. Our OmniFit floor care solutions have a standard plastic threaded connection at the top. So a customer can use any of our plastic 3/4 inch color coded handles. Those handles will fit in mop, broom, squeegee, floor brush. We also have color coded dustpans, a wide variety of bilevel brushes with side and end brushes, a variety of tile and grout brushes for areas that do not have those or that do have those grout lines. And then we also have both foam and rubber squeegees. We have a 1-piece rubber squeegee and a dual foam squeegee for areas that are sprayed down. And then on this page, you will also see our new OmniFit divided mop bucket, which I mentioned earlier. So let's take a little deeper look at this product. So let's meet the new OmniFit divided mop bucket. So reducing cross-contamination, the divided bucket allows for dirty water to be wrung out in a separate bucket, like I mentioned earlier, keeping that clean water cleaner during the mopping process. And this means that the end user is using like cleaner water versus water that's getting progressively dirtier to mop their floors. It's very durable. We've tested our wringer to ensure it withstands at least 200,000 rings. We have included anti-splash technology. So we know that slip and falls are a huge risk for any facility, and the rounded edges reduce splashing and additional spills when emptying the bucket. This bucket's also economical. So the divided bucket allows an operator to only empty the dirty water between cleaning. So you're reducing the amount of chemicals used and water wasted after each cleaning. The other nice part about that is, say you're cleaning up some type of sick in a restaurant or something, that operator can clean that up and empty just that dirty water bucket without contaminating that the entire mop bucket, right? It is color coded, so it's available in 6 colors, aligning with HACCP standards to reduce cross-contamination. And the wringer is compatible with our products as well as a few competitor products. So we're moving on to handheld tools, and this page is loaded with products, and specifically some new products and new color options. So we have the plastic and stainless steel hand scrapers, which are great for surface cleaning, whether it's cutting board or a stainless steel surface, that they're really great at like removing that stuck on grime and grease. We also have handheld dustpan that is great for counter cleaning and pairs really well with our counter brushes for fine debris pickup on counters. And we also have shovels in 2 sizes and 13 colors, as well as a large variety of brushes and scrubs in all colors, such as round brush, multiple detail brushes, and our hand and nail brush. And then finally, we have waste and material handling. So we have our newly designed Bronco trash can, which I'm going to tell you more about in just a minute. And to complement our Bronco, we also have a variety of color-coded NSF tote boxes. They're offered in 5-inch and 7-inch depth. So as I mentioned, we have just released our newly designed Bronco. So let's take a little closer look.
The CFS brand's Sparta Broncos are your solution for all your waste and material handling needs. Built with commercial environments in mind, Bronco waste containers feature durable plastic walls and reinforced drag skids to provide the durability you expect no matter the job. Whether used for a hotel, a restaurant, or a cleaning business, Bronco is sure to meet your cleanliness needs with long-lasting reliability. Designed to outperform competing waste containers, this heavy-duty can is constructed of polyethylene that can withstand daily use for the long haul. Is NSF2 and 21 certified for storing, separating, and color-coding various food products, and comes in a variety of sizes and colors. The Bronco's Comfort Curve handles are designed for easy lifting and maneuvering. Its reinforced plastic construction and drag skids maximize longevity. Molded notches can securely attach a dolly, and helper handles on the base allow for effortless disposal. Its NSF2 and 21 certification meets the criteria for food contact and is resistant to acids, bases, and vegetable oils for effortless safety and cleaning. To round out your Bronco, choose between several associated options. Stay-on lids that snap down and stay secure, dollies, and funnel lids. Outlast the competition with our durable Bronco waste containers and start experiencing quality design and long-lasting reliability. Contact your local CFS brand representative for more information. CFS Brands, designing value, delivering success.
Oops. So I did want to go over some of the main points about our brand new Bronco. So durable construction, it's made of sturdy polyethylene, and it's reinforced with drag skids for maximum longevity. We have also added integrated off the ground handles. So this new feature was actually inspired by our Sanjamar safety tote, safety ice tote. So we've added these handholds on the bottom of the can making emptying contents easy and efficient. But these handholds are also raised off the ground for some added sanitation. So they're not touching the floor all the time. The comfort curved handles. So another change we made to the can is the placement and design of the side handles. We moved the side handles to prevent the cans from nesting and sealing together during transport and storage. And these handles are also designed to make lifting and maneuvering the can easier. The Bronco is NSF 2 and 21 certified for storing, separating, and color coding various food products. It does have does have lids that snap down and press pull off. So they remove with ease. We do have this can in 11 colors, aligning with HACCP practice to promote an integrated color-coded sanitation maintenance system. And they're sanitary. So another change we made is in the design, we eliminated the interior shelf, which could have acted like a bacteria trap. So our new design has a smooth interior, and that also makes it easier to sanitize the Bronco, making it ideal for various applications. We do have customers that use this for food storage, even for winemaking, because it's so much easier to sanitize the inside of the can. So finally, we want to invite you to follow us on our social media channels for all of the most up-to-date information on our products and solutions. Also, if you have not yet signed up for our newsletter, please make sure that you do that on our website. This month, we have launched a new series of articles aimed to help our customers reduce operational costs in the food service, healthcare, and sanitation sectors of our business. So we will be continuing these series as we focus on more needs and pain points of our customers and end users, as well as the solutions that we provide. So that is the end of my presentation today, and we wanted to open the floor for questions. So if you have any questions, please go ahead and put those in the chat.
Jade, at the present time, I do not see any questions in the chat.
All right. Well, thank you guys all so much for joining us today. We really appreciate that. And we hope that this was a great learning experience for you. And we really enjoyed hosting you today on our webinar.
Oh, one more, Jade. One just popped up.
All right.
Are all items currently available to be ordered?
Yes.
Yep. Yes, the one exception is we are taking pre-orders for our new 35-quart side press OmniFit mop bucket. So you can pre-order the side press of the new 35-quart Omni mop bucket. The down press is in stock and available today. So it's just the side press. Everything else in the presentation is available and in stock today, including the new Bronco cans.
Thank you for that.
Mm-hmm.
Just a couple more seconds. We'll wait for other questions prior to ending the call.
And there was one question asked during the presentation. How many colors do you offer in your tool, your color tool program? So the majority of our brushes and cleaning tools are available in up to 13 colors, and our waste containers are available in 11 colors.
I see no further questions in the chat.
All right. Going once. Going twice. All right. Thank you guys all so much again for joining us today.